I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and it's part 2 of the full video review of Motorola's newest smartphone, the Moto G. It brings personalization to a $179 price point, not to mention the specs are worth mentioning as well. Let's find out more in part 2. It's part 2 of the video review of the Moto G, a device that Motorola has made with some pretty decent specifications all around, with an unlocked price starting at $179. So no contract, unlocked, $179. A great value all around. This is a device I would personally consider carrying. The specs are pretty decent all around. It's not your last year's model. It's not the hand-me-down. It's not the original iPhone by any means. This device has some pretty nice specifications, including a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 400 CPU, a 4.5-inch 720p HD display, 5-megapixel camera on the back. You've got a 2070 milliamp hour battery, 1 gigabyte of RAM. The 8 gigabyte version is $179. The 16 gigabyte version, which you're seeing here, design-wise exactly the same, just more internal storage, is $199. So I like this for a lot of different reasons. I can see this as a backup phone for Android fans, or even non-Android fans, just having it as a backup phone, maybe a weekend phone. I can see this being great for emerging markets. I can see this being great. It's a great, well-respected mid-range device that's going to bring Android into a lot more homes in the coming months, and hey, even maybe coming years as well. It's getting Android out to the masses. It's not what you would expect from a $179 device. It's far, far better. But again, specs pretty decent here. Android 4.3 on this device out of the gate, with a promise from Motorola to upgrade in the near future to Android 4.4. And hey, a 4.5-inch HD display at that price point is very impressive. And not only is it an HD display at 720p, it also has 329 ppi. So really a nice unit all around. Love the personalization element. Love that I can buy a phone for $180 without a contract and get a device that allows me to remove the back shell and put on my own personalized color as well. So they're bringing, hey, it's not Moto Maker by any means, but they're bringing that personalization theme over to the G as well. And you can see, if I can remove this with my terrible fingernails, it comes in black. You can pick these up for $14.99, and you can pick up cases like, the flip cases where it pops onto the back, flips over via magnet, for $29.99. So really nice even there price point on the accessories. Good specs all around. It's part 2. Let's take a look at the Moto G. Thanks to them for providing us, Motorola that is, for providing us with a review unit. Thanks to Best Buy Mobile as well, because they give us phones for free that we also turn around and give to you for free on PhoneDog.com. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, they'll make sure you're hooked up regardless of whether you get a Moto X or whatever the case may be, Galaxy S4, HTC One, regardless of the carrier. They're unbiased. They're not paid on commission. They'll make sure you get the carrier that works the best for you in your respective neck of the woods at Best Buy Mobile. Let's jump right in and take a look at the camera here. You've got a 5-megapixel camera on the back, and of course you can see here quick access to settings, quick access to gallery just by swiping. Very quick, very easy. And of course your settings over here include HDR, flash, and of course control my focus and exposure, slow motion video on, and of course panorama as well. So you've got some really nice, and again, I'm going to mention it a lot in this video because it is a key factor of this device for the price point. Slow motion video, HDR photos, even though it is 5 megapixels, still very impressive all around in what you get in this overall package. So you can see, for example, we'll bring the Moto X over, a brother of sorts. Actually, you know what? My Moto X is blue, so it's probably not going to be the best on a blue background. We'll bring over the Nexus 5. To take a look here, and you can see 5-megapixel camera. This thing isn't going to win awards for imaging quality by any stretch of the imagination. We'll go into Nexus, for example, and take a look, get it to focus in. Image quality is certainly fine. I have no issues with the image quality. It's not as good as something you're going to see, for example, on the One or the Galaxy S4, the Note 3, or the LG G2 with optical image stabilization, for example. But hey, for $180, you're getting a device with a really decent camera all around. You have your front-facing shooter here as well. So you've still got the options. They have to cut somewhere. That's one of the areas that they make the cut, is in the 5-megapixel shooter, as opposed, I know this, Google, stop that. Of course I can delete just by doing that, as you can see, by the handy little nifty tricks that it told me on the screen. And you've got, of course, editing options here as well, very similar to what you would see on like an Instagram, where I can come in here and change the photo to vintage or black and white or punch, and I can come here and crop it. I can add a frame if I want to, really jazz it up and make it my own, and hit save. Save that picture to camera, and I've got a customized image right there out of the gate. So really, again, 5 megapixels, lots of great editing options, lots of great options within the camera, even though the actual megapixel count is a little bit less than what you would expect. But again, this is not to be compared with a high-end device, because this is appealing to an entirely different market, and what you get comparing this to other $179 devices, this is the best thing on the market right now. Love the personalization, can't get over that. The battery life has been relatively decent on this phone. It's 2,070 milliamp hours. I can make it through a day very easily with my moderate, what I would consider moderate to low heavy use. Obviously, it differs depending on your personal use patterns, but still very impressed with the performance of the Moto G in the battery life department. Also impressed in the speed department. I mean, yeah, it only has 1 gigabyte of RAM. Yes, it's a quad-core processor that's clocked a little slower than other devices on the market. Had no issues whatsoever with speed. I'm sure if I were a super gamer, I'd see some speed differences, but I'm talking about basic tasks here. Sending text messages, browsing the web, checking my email. I'm seeing no lag whatsoever. For example, going to Google Plus here. Quick, easy, show my pictures. Pictures from the center will be shown automatically. Go back home, recent apps. I mean, everything's loading up pretty quick with little to no lag. So that lag issue that plagued Android devices years ago, even on what I would consider, a low to mid-range device like the Moto G, not seeing those issues anymore. So that problem is, for the most part, so far as I can tell, gone on the Moto G. So even with 1 gigabyte of RAM, you shouldn't have a problem with this device. So again, applications here load up with ease. No problems whatsoever. Love the American application on Android. Wish they would bring back the widget where you can see your flights from the actual home screen, but hey, that's conversation for another day. So it's an all-around great device, but it's going to appeal to a very particular set. If you're a high-end Android spec head, this is obviously not your device, but if you're looking for a device maybe for your mom who's new to smartphones, maybe you're looking for a backup device for you, maybe you're in an emerging market, there's going to be great options here. This is a great prepaid alternative as well, 180 bucks, get a fully functional smartphone with an HD display. I mean, the possibilities are endless here. It's a market I think OEMs have not tapped into up until now with the Moto G. It is a market that can grow, and I cannot wait to see what the Moto G does in that market in terms of personalization and in terms of bringing higher end specifications to that price point. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more. I'm on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron. I would love to hear from you as to what you think of this device, the X, and Motorola's overall strategy. I'm on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron. I'm also on Facebook at Facebook.com/HiAaronBaker. Thanks so much for watching. More to come on the Moto G on PhoneDog.com. I'll see you next time.